Hey, 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 yes, we are here. Sorry we're a few minutes late. Just a couple technical glitches that we had to work through. We're honored you're here today. My name is Kat Bearfield. I'm the VP of Nutrition Services here for DotFit. And of course, we have our fearless leader, as always, founder and CEO Neil Spruce. And we are on part three of the ultimate guide to optimizing body composition, and we have a good one for you guys today. So we're going to focus on contest prep. If you didn't know, Neil has an extensive background, first and foremost as a top bodybuilder himself, and then of course, coaching hundreds, if not thousands, of athletes across the years. So a couple housekeeping tips. You are in listen-only mode, which means that you can hear us, but we can't hear you. We're going to capture a recording as always. We'll post it on the website later today, and we'll also have the slides for you to download on our website once that's posted. At any point in time when you have a question, just enter it into the questions area in the GoToWebinar window at any time, and then at the end, once Neil is done, we'll field your questions for as long as you would like. So without further ado, Neil, please take it away.
Thank you. Hey everybody. So it's always funny when people introduce me as like a top bodybuilder, and obviously you look at me today as the incredible shrinking man. It's like it's humorous, but and most of the people like yourselves probably don't even remember the 70s and 80s of bodybuilding, but those were the glamorous days when Arnold opened the door for all of us. I mean, I came right after him. He had just won all those Olympias, and I started my career in bodybuilding literally, in the early 70s, and then made it all the way up to 1990 before I retired. So we had a great run all there, and I was able to meet all the top guys, trained. They were my training partners. Obviously I lived in Venice, right across the street from the gym. So it was a wonderful romantic era, and it's gone a little bit sideways, as it's progressed, bodybuilding itself. But those were the amazing years. And after I retired, or even during my competitive years, though, I actually worked with all the top Mr. Olympias and got them ready for their competitions because I just knew a little bit more about dieting than everybody else, and they recognized that. So I was just fortunate enough to keep them as not just close friends, they were training partners, and take care of their diets, including Flex Wheeler, who won the 4 Arnold Classics. I took care of him. As you know, he was like, he calls me dad, and I call him son. He's part of our family, and now he takes care of my kids too as well. So it's always kind of a great time to ever go back and sort of how everything started, because we literally built an empire on altering body composition rather than weight loss, weight gain, right? Altering body composition so you have your ideal body or whatever you wanted, right? And all it is it's a morphing of what bodybuilders did to build muscle, lose body fat simultaneously, or build muscle and then lose fat later. And that's all it ever was. So we're going to take the first 2 parts were pretty much covered everything, and really the first part of this whole thing is a summary. So a recap of what we've already done, about maximizing fat loss while preserving muscle, and then we'll also, with the monitoring adjustments for overcoming plateaus, fat loss facts, which is a big one. So I want everybody to make sure you kind of get this. And the reason I have this in here, it doesn't matter what kind of client you're working with, whether it's a bodybuilder, whether it's a fitness, a physique competitor, or whether it's Mr. or Mrs. Jones that are desk jockeys that want to lose body fat. If you have facts, if there's no truth, there's no solution. You have to have facts. So every solution is grounded in facts. Okay, so I'm going to list the common myths that are out there and make sure that you get over that. And that makes it easier for you to do what I did in my career, and that is to be able to tell people what they really need to do to lose body fat and gain muscle, right? Do the best they can with that. Okay, and then at the very end, last part is physique bodybuilder contest prep, just some basic stuff, right? And that's always kind of the fun part. So that'll be at the very end. Okay, so recap real quick. Calories in, calories out, no matter how you look at it. And no one knows more about calories than physique athletes, bodybuilders, because that's the bottom line at the end of the day. That doesn't mean all calories are equal. That's why you have high protein diets. You have people that respond better on a little bit higher carbohydrate, or a little more fat. Doesn't mean they're all equal. But we're all individuals. This is why we have all the different sort of diets that we create for everybody. right? And of course, quality. You can't just eat French fries for the amount of calories that it takes for your body to gain weight or lose weight. It's got to be balanced. And of course, we've gone through all of those different things. All right, so bottom line is you need to count calories. You need to count calories. You know how it says you don't need to count calories? You need to in the beginning, right? After that, then of course you can just look at the scale and you got to figure it all out. But this is the difference here. If you're going to maximize fat loss while preserving muscle, right? If you're going to do that, right, you've got to feed the body nutrients without calories. That's what it's all about. Nutrients without the calories, or minimize the calories with the nutrition that supports lean body mass, because only nutrition supports lean body mass. Medicine doesn't, none of these other things, but nutrition supports lean body mass. Okay, so the right amount of protein and the micronutrients, so the vitamins and minerals, because every single system in your body, muscles, skeletal system, immune system, cardiovascular system, muscular system, are all vitamin mineral dependent, which is why we can't live without it. Okay, so we want to make sure we get all of that as we get our calories down. That's the difference between what we do, altering body composition, and the difference between what conventional diet centers do. They don't look at feeding the body nutrition without the calories. They don't. They want you to lose the weight, and you'll lose it quicker, right? Because you're losing lean body mass. We don't let people do that. They're losing lean body mass along with the weight, and the weight goes down faster, and they think that that's what they need to do because the client wants to lose weight. Well, no one wants to just lose muscle because they don't know the repercussion is. That's why everybody gains weight back. 80 to 90% of every dieter gains all the way back in the first year. So you got some real issues there, and it's all because they shrink. Their structure gets weaker and weaker and weaker. All right. All right. So with all that said, bottom line is your body is fighting you against all these things, as we've talked about before. It's going to make you hungry when you're dieting. It's going to decrease your energy expenditure. In other words, your what we call adaptive thermogenesis, or just your the way you move. Non-exercise movement, it makes you tired. It makes you kind of lazy. That's your body tricking you and not to burn that many calories, which of course reduces your basal metabolic rate. So again, that's all the things we're trying to avoid. And if you feed the body things it can use without all the calories, then of course we can avoid those things, and that's what we do. All right. So the bottom line is the key factors to preserve lean body mass and metabolism during any type of weight loss is slower rate of weight loss. You can't just crash diet, right? And of course you have to do some kind of resistance exercise so the nutrients go to the right places. Right? Higher protein, obviously, and then your vitamins and minerals. Okay, maximizing just some starting calories. We put them all here. As you can see, if you're going to maximize these things, you've got to go, you can't go with a big deficit. A big deficit, you're gonna, I don't care how much you supplement, if you go in a big deficit, 1,000 and 1,500 calories a day, you're going to lose muscle. You can't save it, right? Unless you're on drugs, okay? That's the only thing that can save it at that particular point. And we're not talking about that stuff today. Adjust to lose, bottom line is, if you don't want to lose too much when it comes to body fat percentage, about 0.5% to 1.5 every 2 weeks, because it's hard to measure weekly. All right. And of course, as you get leaner, you have to go slower if you're going to protect the lean body mass. And these are the numbers. We've done all this before, gram per pound of body weight. Well, actually, you can do body weight as long as they're lean, but I use LBM, I use lean body mass, and the reason I use lean body mass, and I'm probably the only person that does that. I've probably worked with more people than any scientist or anybody in the world. I mean, literally thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of athletes and competitors and members of our clubs, and that is that. So I know that you can't take a 350-pound obese person and say you need 350 grams of protein. Right? So I don't use weight, I use lean body mass. Okay, and we want to divide it up, ideally 4 to 6 times a day, but hey, it depends on who you're working with, what they can do. Carbohydrates starting out there, but carbohydrates are the very first ones to be reduced. So I start everybody out somewhere between 40 and 50% carbohydrate, and then 30% protein, 30% fat, and then begin to move the carbohydrates down as we get to be able to protect lean body mass. Because protein has to stay up. Starting fats are pretty high, right? But that's the second macro we adjust, based on the goal and the energy. So the bottom line, we have to maintain protein, right? And not just maintain it, it actually increases as we begin to lose body fat and maintain lean body mass. So there's a summary. We've had it. So here it is here. Now you know how we created the 5 components going back all the way to the late 80s. Well, I actually rode them on a plane to South Africa. So now you know with the 4 pillars, 5 components, they all kind of came from that. Bottom line is, for favoring altering body composition, you need the proper macronutrient, time caloric intake below maintenance, right? Okay, so, and again, it doesn't necessarily, and we'll see this when we look at the next slides there, exercise, right? Because we need it to go in the right places. We need to extract calories from the right places if we're below maintenance, which means we want it to come from body fat, not muscle, like it does in nature. It comes from muscle and body fat. Significant amount comes from muscle, almost half of it sometimes, okay? We don't want that, right? So exercise helps us extract it from the right place. And then deposition, where do we want any other calories to go? We want them to go to lean body mass. And then dietary support, it's okay, that's your 3rd pillar, if you will, right? So that's complete nutrition within the body fat goal calories. I can't raise your calories to get it, so I've got to feed it without the calories to help support the structural and functional integrity of the human body, right? So at the very minimum, that's your complete multivitamin mineral, and then all the way to when we get to a physique competitor, we've got them loaded up. And then, of course, this is you. The final component is the setup and adjustments. Though you're not using the program, you're really missing something, because the program is structured all around this. It tells you exactly what to do. There's nothing to think about. It tells you what to do. And again, and when you measure that person, it'll tell them what to do, just as if I'm sitting in the same room with them, right? But you have access to all that, so you can get that set up. And plus the motivation that you bring to the table also. So that's why we have the components laid out like this. Okay, so bottom line is, when you're measuring somebody and working with somebody, you have to weigh and measure them in the same clothing, same time of day, and the same scale, right? For body fat, same method. We don't like the hydrostatic. Hydrostatic's impossible because it's too expensive. You can't do it very often, but obviously a gold standard. But we're certainly not doing that. Calipers are the simplest, safest way, non-invasive way of doing it, and consistent. Just because it might be a percent or 2 off, it doesn't matter. As long as it's directionally correct, you're going in the right direction, it'll tell you that, right? So that's all we've ever used. So that's the best way to do it. And that way you can really balance out if you're losing muscle or if you're losing body fat or both, right? And then you only adjust, you wait, you go through a full 7 days before you get adjustment, or 14 days when it comes to when you're measuring body fat. Okay. So here, these algorithms are actually in the computer, right? So when you're using our program, this is what you're getting. A measurable distance should take place in a regular, consistent manner. And if it doesn't, the computer actually comes up and tells you this. It's all laid there. So if you're measuring their body fat, or if you're weighing them and it comes up and you enter their new goal, it's going to tell you what to do. It's going to say, what do you want to do? But what you want to do, and I'm just kind of giving you the information here, right? If progress stops or slows dramatically, right? One or more, or a combination of the two, needs to restart the process. Now, increased daily activities, that's always the goal. That's the easier thing to do. People don't realize as they start working out, losing body fat, their daily activities slow down. That's their body tricking them. They may be doing the same work in the gym, but they're not losing weight, or they're not losing body fat. But if they can just move more during the day and have hours and hours to do that, and I put some examples in here, right? Standing and pacing burns 1.5 to 2 times more calories than sitting. So the average person sits at least 6, 7 hours a day. People that have the normal jobs, right? We're not talking about laborers or things like that. If that person sits that much, can you imagine burning 1.5 to 2 times more calories by standing rather than sitting in part of that time? Crazy. And I put some notes in here. Approximately, there's about 2,000 to 2,500 calories, or steps, right, in a mile. Walking 2,000 steps will burn 75 to 150 more calories, depending on the individual size, obviously, than sitting in the same time period. 20 to 30 minutes, right, can be done anywhere, even in the office or while you're on the phone. Never, ever do anything. If you can do it standing, pace, just like I am right now. Rather than me sitting down on the, and doing my videos or doing any of those things, I will stand up, right? Do any of those things. And when you're on the phone, just stand and pace. You'd be surprised how many more calories you can burn without having to drop your calories. That's the big thing. Now, the other thing is, of course, we can increase your exercise time, right? So cardio workout time or intensity and include interval training. So example, if you're doing 30 minutes 5 days a week and you're at a plateau, you go to 45 and add interval work, right? So you're 2 minutes of a sprint or a minute in a sprint, and you're back coming down, and then another minute of a sprint. And that way you can stay in the same time frame. And then finally, I always like to do this last, because this might be first. You have to remember, if they're already doing a lot of work, this could be first. Decrease food intake, approximately 200 to 300 calories a day, or just remove the small portion of their largest meal of the day. All right, and then finally, you'll end up at a 3 days low. If they really want to go low, as we do for bodybuilders, 3 days low, 1 day high, and I'll give you a map on that. And then you can also add dietary support. So they're already taking a multivitamin mineral, they're having a protein supplement before and after a workout. That's baseline. Every person you work with, that's automatic, right? But there's other things, as you know, Thermexcel, Carb Repel, and weight loss and liver support that can help significantly get them over that diet hump through all those things. All right, so at the end of the day, you repeat the process anytime body fat is stable for at least 1 week. And always remember, if you stop losing fat, you need to eat less, move more, or a combination of the two, regardless of what you read on the internet, from your searches, or what you hear from others. Bottom line. But also, as you lower the calorie intake, you have to make sure your protein stays up, that gram per pound, no matter what. So again, just be careful there all the way around. Now, every once in a while, you can adjust a diet and give them a little more protein, less carbs, or a little more carbs and less protein, or something to make them move more. But that bottom line, they're still moving more. All right, but the bottom line, you have to make sure those are the 2 things you deal with right there. So this is what it looks like, right? This comes up. That's why, when it comes up and it asks for the client's weight every 7 days, or if you're doing body fat every 14 days, weight and body fat, enter it. And everything I just told you will pop up right here. What do you want to do? You're off goal. Here's what you need to do, right? Do you want to extend your goal? We'll change your menus, and that automatically happens as you push a button, whatever you want to do. This is the secret sauce to the whole program at the end of the day, right? You got your feedback, so use it. And that's why you're getting, the right opinion there for the client as well. All right. Now, again, so the amount of work it takes to get, I always like to tell people this ahead of time. The amount of work it takes me to get to your goal is not what it takes to maintain it, depending on a few things, obviously. Once you get to your goal, right, we can increase your calorie intake, because if we keep adding more work and you keep losing weight, and you've gone down, lost a pound a week, right? And you're at your goal. If I keep dropping you, you're gonna keep losing a pound a week until you die. Right? So obviously, we can stop doing that, and we can actually raise it back up. Because what it takes to get there is not necessarily what it takes to maintain it, depending on how long you would stabilize. So if you've stabilized, that where you wanted to end up was, 150 pounds, you wanted to end up at 150 and 10% body fat. Okay, and if you've been there for 6 weeks, then that's what it takes to maintain it. But if you were coming down to that, I could probably bring you up 500 calories a day. That's huge, right? And cut back on some of the exercise that got you there. So keep that in mind, maintenance. Just plug in a new goal for the client. That's all we do. Plug in a new maintenance goal for the client. All right. So here are the facts you need to know to what I like to call, not just to avoid failure, because otherwise you let your client push you around, right? Oh, I only eat 1,000 calories a day. And this is a client that's 250 pounds sitting in front of you, right? I only eat 1,000 calories a day. And listen, I've worked with too many people. There was a time when I used to believe my clients. I know it was a long time ago, but there was, until I finally proved, oh, that's not right. Why do all the actors and actresses that I work with, and some of the, as you know, from Gold's Gym and everything else, the most famous people in the world, I still do. Why do they all get to their goal? They're motivated and they follow what I tell them to do. Why do all the bodybuilders get to their goal? Because they have to, or they can't get on stage. And I'm not doing anything different. Why do 40% of some of the clients I work with, their body fat's not budging? Because I'm not going to go so far as to say they're liars. They're just not reporting to me proper information, because they're getting the same protocols and they are no different. They aren't the same human species, right? But here are the facts that you need to know to avoid failure and what I call internet distraction. So since the internet now, everybody's looking for, I can't lose weight. I eat too little calories. Is there starvation mode? And then you'll find all this junk up there. All right, so I'm just going to remove that. Let's get down to real facts, because there is no truth. There is no facts without truth. So you have to have truth based. So this is just the truth. All right, so facts you need to know to avoid failure and internet distraction. Fact: energy is neither created or destroyed. It is only transferred from one entity to another. So in other words, this is what we call the law of thermodynamics. And there's not a single mammalian structure that violates this law. It's like the law of gravity. We know it's real, which means you don't just walk down the street and go, "Whoa, what happened? I got fat." That's not the way it works. If you're wearing it, you ate it. You transferred energy to the environment, you put it inside your body, and you didn't burn it all off, or it didn't get deposited in your lean body mass where you wanted it to, unless during your growth years, during puberty or before puberty. So again, energy, it's stored somewhere. And if too much is stored, you got to get rid of it, okay, which requires work. So you can't, it is only transferred from one form to another. All right. Rate of weight loss is always the average energy calorie deficit. Again, this just ties to the law of thermodynamics. Energy in, energy out. Energy is removed when you're in a deficit. If you're not taking enough energy in to support your mass, it's got to come from somewhere, because it can't be created. So it comes from your stores. And the goal is to direct it to the stores, your body fat stores. That's where we want to take it, right? And that's the bottom line. And there's no such thing as spot reducing, like somehow I'm going to get the body fat off my toes or my forehead or my gut. There is no such thing of any of those things. Keep that in mind. It's just going to get pulled hormonally. All right, and we'll look at that in a second here. Weight and body composition plateau. Here's the definition of it. Calories in equal calories out. It is the definition of energy balance, okay? Regardless of the human math. So when that client comes in or someone comes in and nothing has changed. Now, the reason I have weight and body composition, if you just said weight, that's not true, because the body composition could be way more muscle and less body fat. But when body composition is stuck, you're 15% body fat and you're at 150 and you're stuck at that. That's a plateau. That means your energy in equals your energy out, unequivocally, because energy is neither created nor destroyed. Regardless of what that person is telling you, that's the point, okay? If you want to continue to lose fat, it requires continuous adjustments in that calories in, calories out. Because the body, as we just talked about, is going to naturally adapt. It's going to try to figure out, I mean, if you're 250 pounds and you start and you lose 60 pounds of weight, you're not going to burn as many calories as when you were 260. So obviously, you're going to have to alter something dramatically, because you're carrying 60 pounds less weight around. Imagine carrying two 30-pound dumbbells, so one in this hand, your whole life, running on a treadmill with it. You're doing all that. You're burning a lot of calories. Now they're gone. Well, of course you're going to burn less. And your cardiovascular system's working better, so it's not stressing your body, so you're burning less calories. You're more fit. So that's how the body adapts. Fitness actually you end up burning less calories and you're the same weight if you're more fit, because everything just works easier. And then, of course, all of that we can offset by adding lean body mass, which is why we are so adamant about resistance training. If I can add lean body mass, all those calories I have to drop, I don't have to drop them. That's what the goal is. Okay. The other one is this one. You ready? There is no limit to fat loss. You guys have all seen people starve to death. You've seen pictures of those. There is no limit until death, meaning that plateaus are avoided or broken by program adjustments. So when someone goes, I just can't, it's impossible. I've dropped my calories down to 500, and I'm doing 2 hours of workouts a day. They're just wrong. Okay, that's all. They're just wrong. I'm not saying they're purposely lying or any of these things. I'm just giving you the experience of 40 years of working with people, right? But to that point, genetics, age, medications, and other things, as we know, can make progression more difficult, but it's not impossible. It just makes it harder. That's all. All right. Now, again, there's no spot reducing, right? This is a big one. It is really nothing. Oops, sorry about that. You can't just do a workout and do a million ab workouts and all these things and make it come away from there. That just doesn't happen. In fact, it actually changes throughout life. As we get older, our genetics set where we're going to draw fat from. Our genetics do. I put subcutaneous fat for a reason, right? Because there is, the caveat is visceral fat. Visceral fat is sort of in the splanchnic area of the body, the gut, and so forth on the inside. That's not subcutaneous fat. That's stuff you can't see. It's inside your body. And aerobic exercise seems to go after that because, again, it's all your whole vascular system is going through there. So it tends to draw from there. But that doesn't change the subcutaneous fat, the stuff you can actually see, right? That will pull from wherever your genetics have set you to pull. Some people lose it in the legs first. Some people lose it in the stomach first. Some people, sadly, females will lose it in the breast first. So it really depends. But later on, age can change that. As the hormones change, as the body gets older, it'll change where your body's going to take it. There's no exercise that's going to target any of those things for you. Okay. And then finally, at the end of the day, like I always like to say, this is only for you guys. Numbers don't lie, people do. Clients are actually misrepresenting, and I do it that in a nice way, intake and movement if the plateau is not overcome, while they profess to be following your guidelines. If you follow exactly what's in that computer, when it comes out and spits it to you, and you're not losing, numbers don't lie, people do. That doesn't mean they're doing it on purpose. So I put down here, miss or underreporting is common. 40% of people everybody that's trying to lose weight underreports, right? And the more overweight you are, the more you underreport. Heavy people underreport by 40%. Think about that for a minute. So if they're saying they're eating, and that 40% is a big number across the board. Some people go much further than that. So the bottom line, may not be purposeful, right? I don't want to say that. But, because there's another little hidden thing that happens to people. And that is their activities as they get older decline during the day. They're not moving as much as they did when they were younger, but yet they're still in the gym as much as they were. We just talked about that, right? In other words, if you're not moving around outside the gym as much as you were when you were younger, you just offset the amount of calories you burn. But yet you're eating the same. I'm eating the same and I'm gaining weight. It's only because you're burning less calories. Even though you might be burning more in the gym, you're burning less in daily life, which is way more calories than you burn in the gym. So again, just that's all I'm trying to remind you of. So that's why I like daily activities. Bump those up. All right. So another one. There's no such thing as a starvation mode. And I just heard this again today. I was on a call with a group of people in one of our gyms and everything else, and a couple of people that kind of study weight loss and so forth. There is no such thing as a starvation mode or calorically damaged metabolism. The human metabolism flexes in both directions. When you start eating less, yeah, it's going to slow down a little bit. No one argues that, right? But it slows down as needed to protect you from dying. Okay, just a little bit. Maybe it's 5–10%. And then when you refeed it, it actually bumps up by itself to burn those calories off so you don't just store all of it as fat. So it's very flexible. And there's no such thing as damaging. It is what it is. And the person with the slowest metabolism compared to the person with the fast metabolism probably differs 5 or 6 or 7%. Maybe a couple of Oreo cookies a day. So again, there's no such thing. Starving humans don't eventually perish while overweight. No, they don't die fat. You've seen the picture. So there's no such thing as that. Yes. Is it harder for other people? We just talked about that. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Don't get sucked into that whole sort of conspiracy thing that's out there. Now, I will take one more thing here. Let's say someone is stuck at a plateau at 2,000 calories, and you take them down to 1,500. Now they stop moving completely. Okay, and so that 50, but if I take them back up to 2,500, that extra 1,000 calories forces them to move, makes them want to move 1,500 calories. So there's always that sort of weird thing, but that is not the vast majority of people. I just want you to know. Okay. All right, okay, so just real quick, maximizing muscle growth while minimizing, this was the summary, right? Your calories, if you're going to maximize muscle gain, to minimize, this is muscle gain alone, right? You have about 5 to 20% above maintenance your calories, adjusted every 7 days as needed. 1 gram per pound, as we talked about, right? You split them throughout the day. and fat is right in here as well. Carbs right in, that's per pound. And again, you don't have to do any of this stuff. This stuff is like, splitting hairs. It's real simple, gram per pound of protein, and do carbohydrates 2-to-1 over protein during muscle gain times. That's what you want, right? And then, of course, everybody's foundational supplements are here. You got your multivitamin, mineral. I don't even talk to you. That's not negotiable. That's negotiable if you're eating fish. Bodybuilders tend to eat a lot of fish, so no big deal there, but they'll still take their omega-3s. They take everything. We always did. Calcium, if you fall short. Good news is most of our people that we work with are taking their dairy protein sources like Whey Smooth, First Strain, Pre-Post, lots of calcium. They probably don't need any calcium supplement, right? And of course, their protein. So that's baseline. And then you get into the ones we talked about the last part 2 and part 1 about gaining muscle, creatine, beta alanine, your NO7s, and your creatine monohydrate, all these things here, and caffeine as well to make the workouts better. All right. Okay. So, and then of course the amino acids and so forth. So anyway, there you go. There's just kind of a little summary from that. And here's this one here. So if you're trying to maximize muscle gain, basically, again, we just talked about the macronutrients. The exercise needs to be unaccustomed now. If you're going to continue building muscle, you have to do exercise that is progressive. It challenges the body, so things will keep going and going and going as long as you can. And then with dietary support, here you come to a plateau. There's lots of things we can do to get you past that by improving, not just recovery. That's the obvious one. If you recover better, you're going to build more muscle over time. No question about that. That's obvious. An athlete's next workout is only as good as your recovery from the last. But if I can actually give you something to make you work out harder and want to work out harder and longer, bingo, then I've got something now. So I can maximize that adaptation period and maximize adaptation by doing the recovery supplements. And then, of course, the same thing here. The last component is making the adjustments when you come to plateaus, or make the adjustments before you come to plateaus. That's what I always do. All right, let's take it to the next level. I'm going to play this for you just for fun. I remember my days. This is when bodybuilding was glamorous. This is before all the crazy stuff. But here we go. Ready? This is actually from a couple of different spots I had done on TV and so forth. So you're able to get them that net. Now, Jenny Jones was bigger than Oprah Winfrey, just so you know, back when we did the shows. You can see Dan was a little guy, and I was this big giant coming out there. Dan's a great guy, by the way. There's Suzanne Summers on the left, and there's the head of marketing for Gold's Gym. We were the biggest. That's me at like 275. So this is when that's off season, but I can still guest pose at that, So. Anyway, bottom line, those were the days. Those were the great days all the way around. So again, those were glamorous days. They were fun days. And that last shot you saw was the grand opening I was doing at Gold's Gym, because I did all the grand openings for him and launched the nutrition program. And of course, I became part of the Grade 8 that built that brand. Those were fun days. Anyway, okay, so here's some real easy stuff here. There's really nothing more to say. It's really the same thing. There's no difference. We brought that in. We built an empire, starting with Gold's Gym to 24 Hour Fitness to all the clubs out there, all your top brands today, Move, Edge. That's what we do. It's all the same protocols for everybody we're working with, right? But the difference is when you're a physique competitor, you're more motivated to follow the protocol. And we don't have any failures there, right? So that's bottom line. They'll follow all of those different things we need to do. And that's why when time permits, you always increase time and intensity, because they're willing to do that, rather than with other clients, with people that have jobs that are working, full time, and they only go to the gym 3 days a week. They don't have that much time for the gym, let's just say, or they don't want to spend that much time in the gym. Then we kind of work with different things like, diet. But bodybuilders will they will increase the workload. That's always the easiest part. And then, of course, along with the supplements to help support lean body mass. But as you close in on competition, we generally need to adjust both food and cardio. All right. So this is kind of a little summary here. That includes multiple sessions. So they might do interval training and then 3 days low, 1 day high of diet planning. And I put an example in here for you. So low days, very low days are miserable. They're very low on carbohydrate, 50 to 100 grams of carbs, depending on how big you are, or, again, the competitor. And then about 1,000 calories lower than the high day. And that'll, of course, depend on size. So let's take a look at an example here. So we built this out many, many years ago. And of course, it's still the same thing that almost everybody uses. I put an example here. Let's say you're starting out at 13% body fat, which is very common for an off-season athlete. Caloric intake is 4,000 to support a 200-pounder, 13% body fat that's working out regularly. Cardio sessions are only 2 days per week at 20 minutes per session. In the off-season, we had all bodybuilders go down to that. Right? So their body would just rev up when we started adding cardio. So that was sort of an off-season amount just to maintain cardiovascular health, right? And be able to, just keep them moving. Okay, so it's 16 weeks out for your competition. If you take a look up here, you'll see if they're starting out at 4 days, 20 minutes, the cardio workout here. They're eating, let me get my glasses on here. Let me get a little closer. It's a little small for me. Okay, so at 3250, we drop them from 4,000 to 3250. Okay, doing 4 days a week. So we jump them 4 days a week, 20 minutes, medium intensity. On the 15th week, we're keeping, look at the body fat now. So we're measuring every 2 weeks, as you can see, right? Still there. They're still dropping. So we still move them up. I'm trying to stay ahead of the plateau, right? Keep coming down here, 4 days, 30, 5 days, 30. We're still keeping the same calories, 5 days, 30, but we're moving to a high intensity and change the mode. They'll go from a stair climber to a treadmill, running on a treadmill, to a rowing machine, all types of things. We would change the mode because that changes how many calories you burn. Changing a mode will actually shock the body into burning more calories. Now they're down to 9%. And you can see we're still keeping the calories the same because we're doing all this over here. And I want to keep the calories the same as much as I can high to feed muscle, right? Now we're staying ahead of it. 5 days, 45, high intensity. And we're at 7%. Now we start the 3 days low, 1 day high, right? Because we're getting down to some really, lean. The 7% is very lean. And of course, our goal is around 2. This is measured with a caliper. All right, so we're now down to here. We got to drop down 3 days at 2,600. But the high day, as you can see, is actually higher than the days before. But if you do the math, it'll be significantly lower calories, and we're keeping the cardios the same. We can be able to maintain that here, all right? And as we keep going down here, try to stay ahead of it all the way around. And now we're starting to drop the high day. High day comes down a little bit, low day comes down a little bit, keeping that the same. We're starting getting down into what we call death days, the final days here. We're coming down just a little bit lower. And then finally, we're down here almost to the competition place here. We're now at 6 days, 45 minutes, including interval training, alternate training modes the whole time. And then finally here, so we're down here. So you can see we stopped the 3 days low, 1 day high here. And we've had activity up. And then at this particular point, we start to stabilize them. Okay, they're down all the way down to 2 to 4. Our competition is right here. That's the right number for contest. It's right in there. All right. And again, this doesn't include fluids at this point because when you're doing calipers, it really doesn't measure fluids, as you can tell. That's what's it's just skin fold. All right, so now we're down here, the final week, and here's the final week, what it looks like. Calories are generally higher during the final week. Let me see if I can get this off here for you. There we go. Okay, so the calories are higher during the last week prior to competition. And that's because we've already depleted the glycogen stores, which is a significant amount, 5 or 6 pounds of a carbohydrate that stuffs the muscle, that pushes it out to make you look more vascular. So the last week prior, we'll fill the glycogen stores back up, and of course fully restore the damaged tissues. And by that includes reducing the workload on the final week. And of course, all your creatine, which you've been on all the way to the end, with the last 4 to 5 days, we take it off just in case there's weird water retention with somebody. We want water retention in the muscle, but we don't want it outside the muscle. Okay. Okay, that's not working. Sorry, guys. Something just happened here. Oh, come on. Should I escape it? Yeah, try that. It's like frozen. Oh, there you go. Now it's working, but I can't see it from that. Can you get that? Yeah, again, I just went back. Okay, sorry guys. Okay. Now the bottom line is the athlete you're working with looks harder, more muscular. That's okay, and more vascular each day. If they're losing this appearance, you got to drop the carbs because we've now brought them back up. Remember, look down at the bottom here. We brought them back up here, so the carbs are coming back into the situation. Not too much, but significantly, right? If they lose this, in other words, we call it blurring. And if you look around the pec, you can actually see like a little, might even look like a little bit of water, right? Or you look in your little different parts of the body. So we want to make sure that they're looking more vascular each day. If they lose that, cut the carbs back down. The highest calorie day is Thursday prior to the Saturday of competition. Friday, so what happens on Friday, you reduce the calories 20%, and that'll eliminate any of that blurriness that we're talking about if the athlete is really in shape. One of the problems with athletes, they blame everything on water, right? Oh, I retained too much water there. Most of the time, they're just haven't got all the fat off their body yet. That's one of those other things you kind of deal with. All right, but the bottom line is if everything's working right, this is the way you would do it. If they are literally, their body fat's where it should be, like around 2, 3, 4%, right in there, then this is what you would do. Highest calorie day would be Thursday before the show, and then example 4,000 calories on Thursday, and then Friday would be 3,200. I'm just using an example. Now, and again, if they're still getting harder at the 4,000, you can just hold it there, right? If they're still getting harder and more vascular, but you got to be honest about that. And that's why it takes a second person to look at these people. So any of you that you do need a coach, right? You need a coach to be able to look at you and pay attention. There are so many great coaches out there nowadays that know how to do that. So far as sodium goes, a lot of people cut their sodium earlier. They eat low sodium stuff. We learned that many, many years ago not to do that. Keep it high, if anything, right? At least normal, right? We actually would keep it high through Wednesday before the show. Otherwise, your body finds other ways to hold water the way it should, because that's the healthier thing. We want to suck it out, right? So high, and then Wednesday, you drop it, and none until Saturday morning. Saturday morning, it doesn't matter at that particular point. In fact, a little sodium is good, all right, at that point. But then you drop it and you watch. I mean, if let's say you are like my off-season weight, 265 was my off-season weight and guest posing weight, but 245 before I dropped the sodium. At 245, drop the sodium, literally I weighed 230. The next day. I mean, it's that fast in the next 2 days. That's how fast it'll go. Water consumption high. Keep it going all the way through all the way to mid-afternoon Friday. Load up as much as you can drink, all the way, comfortably, obviously, until about mid-afternoon Friday, and then all you need to do is sip, right? And then to your water, you're full like that, and that's like its own natural diuretic. It works that way. I'm not going to get into diuretics, but that's something hopefully you can avoid. You'd be surprised how many people use those because they think it's just water they're holding when it really is body fat. But I'm not advocating that. I'm just telling you this is the best natural diuretic you can possibly use. That formula I just gave you there. And on competition day, consume your pregame meal, which you know what that is. It can be just protein but higher in carb. That's what a pregame meal is if you're an athlete, whether it be football, baseball, basketball, or anything else. A little higher in carb now, right? But don't fill the stomach. So it's not going to be a big pregame meal. It's going to be a smaller one, right? So it can be your pancakes. It can be with some turkey or whatever you want, right? And then you trickle in carbs the rest of the day. Backstage, before you get there, like white rice, sweet potatoes, banana, mix those all in one. That's gentle on the stomach as well. About every hour, you just take a couple bites here and there, and you're just getting pumped up. You're feeling full vascular, right, until stage time. And then, here's where you go from water to an isotonic, like Gatorade or one of those things, because your body is kind of weird from drinking distilled water before that, or cooking in distilled water, no sodium. You want a little bit of the isotonic solution back in there, and only when thirsty. You don't need it. Just sip a little bit here and sip a little bit there. Okay. And there's your program right there. This is the whole thing right here. This is what we do and we have thousands and thousands of physique athletes that we work with. Many of them are sponsored also by us, so they get all this stuff for free because they're taking care of their communities with the .fit program and everything else. So here's what it looks like. This is their off-season kind of protein recommendation as they get closer to the contest. This is the final contest supplements as needed. We add glutamine, Thermexcel, of course, to cut the appetite. but they're staying on the same things we do, the muscle stack program, the entire time. So we're feeding muscle and starving fat. Great workouts all the way to the end, which is hard to do when you're dieting, right? So this is the physique and bodybuilder's competitor. And then here's sort of off-season stuff. You guys know, you've seen all this. This is up on our website, your muscle gain stacks with amino boost, creatine, creatine XXL, and everything else. You can find it all there. Okay, so there you are. That's it. Time for questions. Kat?
Okay. Thank you, Neil. We had some questions in. You know, I like this graphic here. You are what you eat, but I like what you say after that even better, Neil. So share with everyone what you say after you are what you eat. But
yeah, I know, but it doesn't actually tie into the bodybuilding thing, so I didn't say it. But at the end of the day, as I tell my kids when they were growing up, and as you guys know, they're both professional athletes now. As I told them when they were growing up, you are what you eat, but unfortunately, you will become what you didn't eat. So all of those vitamins and minerals you didn't get from drinking all the right, sort of dairy because you got vitamin D and so forth, but eating all of the foods that you need to get vitamins and minerals, well, guess what? You're going to break down. And you see the older population today, they all break down. They have osteoporosis, they've got cardiovascular disease, and so much could have been avoided by getting all the vitamins and minerals.
Yep. So true. Well, my thought process was, for contest prep at least, manipulating your diet is so precise that, that messing with it will affect your stage appearance, right? So
for sure.
That was my thought process.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have some questions coming in from the troops. Let's see here. Shirley's back. She wants to know, I've been using pre-post workout formula during my strength days, using aminos during the workout. Good. I also have Muscle Defender. It makes me sleepy, so I've been taking it at night. Will that still optimize my muscle mass?
Yeah, absolutely. It does make you sleepy. I mean, it's unusual. I haven't heard that, but obviously every physiology is different. And absolutely, that will definitely help if you're taking it that time. As long as you're taking somewhere around 7 grams, which I think is a scoop and a half, somewhere there before you go to bed, that's fine. Good idea, by the way.
Okay. Jenny wants to know, what is the most accurate way to find your maintenance calorie intake?
Use the .fit program. Is the most accurate way to find your maintenance calorie. Okay? So you plug in your weight, you plug in all your statistics, it's all there, you fill it out, and you will come with your maintenance calories, right? Now, from there, when your goal will now move it down from your maintenance calories. So that's the best way to find it. What it is. It's just a regular formula. The Mifflin Saison formula is the one that we use, which is the most popular one in science today. And you'll know what that is. And then after that, guess what? The best way to find out what your maintenance is every week. Your body's not changing. That's your maintenance, and that's the real truth at that point.
Yeah, very, very, very good question, and that is a very common question. Is but you really just need a starting point. And to Neil's point, then you use experience to sort of guide you. But the .fit gives you the most accurate starting point.
That's because we use the most respected formula in science today. But you can go to any website and get formula that's pretty much the same. And to my point is, what's going to tell you is if you weigh yourself and measure your body fat today, 1 week from today, it's exactly the same. Guess what that is? Maintenance. So that's the factual side of maintenance.
Absolutely. Okay, so Jack, he wants to know, I have a client that I'm rehabbing from rotator cuff surgery. Neil's familiar with that. Would taking Amino Boost be beneficial during his rehab, or is Amino Boost best used for more high intensity training?
I know, absolutely. Amino Boost during the rehab. In fact, a lot of studies, if you go to your PDSRG, Jack, you'll see I actually cited a couple studies of people post-op being put on that exact amino acid formula, and they recover faster. So absolutely, and take it 3 times a day between meals, unless he's training. Then if he's training, take it before workout, after workout, maybe 1 time before bed. if he's training with you.
And there you have it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Tim wants to know, now that I'm taking in 30% protein, you've been listening, Tim, every day, when will you have a big sale on Whey Smooth Vanilla and Chocolate? Asking for a friend, he says. I love it.
Yeah, we don't, but I'll tell you what, send cat at dotfit.com an email, and I'll have, or send Chad. So this is CHAD at dotfit.com, and I'll have him send you a 30% off coupon, and you can buy as much as you want. It's Friday. I start giving shit away on Fridays. There you go.
Well, and we want to reward you guys for being here, because when you come to these webinars, you probably discovered you get some free shit, as Neil says. Okay, with more questions coming in, you guys, don't be shy. It's Friday. We're getting loose here. So, okay, Casey wants to know, hey, Casey, if you only wanted to use 2 servings per day of Amino Boost, would you advise post-exercise and bedtime, or pre and post as always?
Pre and post.
Or pre and post always. Okay.
Yeah, if you can afford a 3rd scoop and you're not maybe getting all the protein you think because your calories are so low, because you're really trying to get lean, then maybe a shot before bed.
Okay.
But otherwise,
okay. Okay. So Vegan Amino Boost says it has 7 grams of carbs, but it has 70 calories per serving. What am I missing?
Yeah. Okay, 7 grams of carbs. Again, the reason it has as many as we do is because it's a natural sweetener rather than artificial. So it's got definitely more calories and carbs. The rest of it is, the FDA is really funny about how you label stuff, right? It's not a complete protein. So if you do the math on the aminos, and you've got about 10 or 11 grams of aminos in a single scoop, times 4 is 48. Then you add the carbs to that, and you end up somewhere around the 70 or 80. So that's just kind of, and Europe does it the same way. The bottom line is it's an incomplete protein, obviously, because it's only 8 of the 9 essential and 8 out of the 20 aminos. But they're the only 8 that are necessary for protein synthesis. So you really can't get all those calories out of it. Bottom line is, if you want to know what the calorie count really is, it's 10 grams. 10 calories. Actually 20, with that one there, it's more because of that. I'm sorry. You're going to end up with 38 calories. On the regular one, it's about 10 calories. On a regular Amino Boost, you eliminate the carbs because of the artificial sweeteners, and you end up with only 10 calories. You can't count those 8 amino acids. If you do the math on them, you can't count them that much. But they make you do that because they call it a protein, and it's not a complete protein. It doesn't burn that way.
Okay, there you have it.
Yeah.
Casey wants to know again, some promote only needing to take BCAAs, branched chain amino acids. Hold on. My questions moved. Okay. Some promote only needing to take BCAAs in the morning, regardless of exercising, or not to set the leucine threshold for the day. Important or not really?
No, that doesn't make any sense at all. Your branched chain is in all the foods. It's in all the foods you eat. So you're getting it from any protein source that's got branched chain in it. The Amino Boost has literally 4 grams in 1 scoop. Okay, the leucine threshold is about 2.5. You're going to get that out of 40 grams of protein, almost any complete protein, right? But we're going further with that with Amino Boost, not just because it crosses the leucine threshold, but it raises the amino acid content surrounding the muscle, during those times. So you would never want to, doesn't make any sense to do it that way.
Okay, cool. Elizabeth wants to know, you mentioned there is no such thing as spot reducing. Doesn't the stomach/abs get tighter with a better diet?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So you're talking about diet. I'm talking about exercise. Absolutely. I mean, listen, you're going to lose body fat. So when you go on a diet, when you go on whatever your caloric restricted diet is, it's going to pull fat from somewhere. Sadly, it pulls fat from places maybe that you didn't want it to pull from, but it'll eventually pull it from the stomach. Or if you're lucky enough, it'll start at the stomach and pull it from there. So that's all we're saying here. If you can't use an exercise to target it, to say, pull from my tricep that's flopping around in the wind. You can't pull it from there by doing tricep exercises. do all the sit-ups in the world you want. You can't pull the fat from there. The diet causes you to lose the body fat. Where it comes from first, that's genetically programmed. So hopefully that gets it. But you're right, yes, when you're on a diet, it will pull your stomach tight as soon as it's pulling the fat from there. Let's hope it does that right off the bat. If it doesn't, you got to stay in the deficit. It'll finally get there.
Okay, good. Hope that answered your question, Elizabeth. Okay, Jenny says, I plugged in all the info to the DotFit program. Look at the sample 40-30-30 menu. I do not see a pre and post workout meal with the menu. Would I adjust the macros to account for the pre and post?
The pre and post meal on the 40-30-30.
Yeah. Well, because we don't know when you're going to work out, right?
But we put it in the athletic performance. Yeah. If you click on the athletic menu, you'll see it in there, right? You'll see like a post. That's a higher carbohydrate menu for the athletic menu, and you can adjust it accordingly.
Yeah, but again, to her point, you absolutely could adjust the macros to account for your pre and post. But if you want exactly,
you want your
if you want to see exactly the layout.
That's a really good question. No matter who you are, right? You want your highest carbohydrate meal before your most activity, right? So that even means if you're training at nighttime at 10 o'clock at night, you want your higher carbohydrate meal at 7:30 at night. So, there's no rules. You don't store more body fat eating calories later than others. You just all that does is maybe make you eat different. So there's no point in eating right before you go to bed a high carbohydrate meal. It doesn't make any sense, right? Because you don't need it while you sleep. But you want that higher carbohydrate meal before activity. So you usually have the higher carbs early in the day to fuel your activities throughout the day. And then at nighttime, that would be your lower one, right? Now, again, it's different for athletes. Both my boys, they're probably eating higher carbohydrates right before they go to bed, but they're shredded, and they're extremely active. It's completely different.
Completely different for athletes. Okay. Leslie wants to know, why is it advised to not continue with the supplements, protein, amino boost, etc., when pregnant or nursing if you continue your workout? Isn't it still nutrition? Good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. And the answer is there's no reason you couldn't from a health standpoint, but let's stay with me for a minute. First of all, protein, here's what we allow during pregnancy and lactation or trying to conceive. Your multivitamin mineral, obviously, which is probably your prenatal from your doctor or the women's formula until you get your prenatal prescription, and then you would take that, right? And then you can take any of our protein powders are absolutely fine during pregnancy. So don't say you don't have to use those. You can use those for your pre-post, use those as a supplement throughout that. And that's a good idea to make sure you get full fetal growth, right? So that's good. Calcium, as needed by the doctor. Doctor will say you need calcium because of this, because your kid, trust me, in the womb will be robbing the calcium from your body. They get priority over you. And we know that from studies. We've watched mothers' bones come down if they're not getting enough calcium and vitamin D in their diet or supplements, right? Which is why it's a common prenatal supplement. Omega-3 fatty acids, absolutely take one of those during pregnancy, no matter what, right? That's another one. Okay, and then of course, if the doctor recommends iron, most of them do because you're getting depleted there. You've got a kind of triple blood source now, right? So that's it, but a prescription by the doc. So that's what you're allowed to use of what we have. Your multivitamin mineral, your omega-3, calcium as needed, and protein, any of the proteins are fine. Done. The reason we don't let people use Amino Boost or Thermic Cell or weight loss liver support is because from an ethical reason that no one does studies on pregnant people using these types of products. So there's no way of just saying, okay, no problem, you can use it. You don't know that. And it's obviously unethical. It doesn't mean there's a safety issue. And then, and again, amino acids, kind of in an unbalanced amount during fetal growth, who knows? And no one, like I said, there are no studies to compare it to. So that's why we just put that under 18 or pregnant lactating, stay away. But at least I gave you what you can use, and that's plenty.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Haley wants to know, is the bodybuilding diet/workout program safe to follow even if you don't want to compete?
Oh, absolutely. No, are you kidding me? It's healthy. Follow it. Yeah, again, I probably should have said something about that. This is just for anybody that wants to lower their body fat as low as they want and keep muscle while they're doing it. Absolutely. It's no different. That bodybuilding diet is no different than I'm giving a customer. I'm just not putting them through hell. Okay. The customer. Yeah. It's the same protocol.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not, I was going to say it's not very fun towards the end, but you can certainly do it.
You really want to get your body fat down low. But I'll tell you what, with the great part, I would always want all the people that work for me go through that once. And now you understand what every person that's trying to lose weight goes through. They don't go through it like that, but at least you're motivated to finish up because I'm asking you to do it, and you finish it up and you go, whoa, that's what those people are going through. Even when they're overweight, they're going through that pain. Right. And then you have a whole different ability to communicate with people when they're trying to lose body fat. So do it.
Okay, Leslie wants to know, what would you recommend for muscle recovery then, if not amino boost?
Well, you're just getting the right amount of protein. You're talking about the pregnancy one, right?
No, just period.
Oh, just your protein before and after your workout. That's good. That's all. Yeah, just for if you're getting a protein shake before a workout, a protein shake immediately after, that's your best recovery you can possibly have. And of course, you're taking your multivitamin mineral. You know that, and your fish oil. That's baseline, right? Unless you're eating a lot of fish, you don't need the fish oil. Multivitamin mineral, the complete one. All right, and then you've got your protein before you work out and after, and getting 1 gram per pound, and you're good for recovery. Right now, when you're really training hard, that's when you start adding like amino boost or something along with it, or you can also add glutamine into it. That way, if you're really training hard, but for your average exerciser, you wouldn't.
Okay, my bad. I stand corrected. She said yes for pregnancy, and the answer is protein.
Just use the protein. Just
use
the protein before and after. You'll be fine. Yeah. You'll recover just fine.
Okay. Thank you for chiming back in, Leslie. Okay, Damon wants to know, at what point is it safe for a postpartum woman to do fat loss while lactating? If you want me to weigh in, I'm happy to weigh in.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Why don't you take that?
Yeah. So it's safe to do it at any point postpartum. It's not necessarily fun because I've never experienced hunger the way I've experienced hunger while I was breastfeeding. So, it's safe to do. You just don't want the deficit to be severe. So I would take it slow, maybe 10, 20% at most daily deficit. And you've got to do something about hunger, which means getting protein levels up, fibrous carbs up, because, it's like nature goes, look, you lady, you need to eat because you need to feed this human being so the species can propagate, right? So it's safe, but just don't make the deficit too drastic.
Yeah, and you want to keep the milk supply full too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you don't want to go too low.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, you guys? You guys had some good questions today.
Yeah, we'll be sure to.
Yeah. Really good. And so for those of you, absolutely, that want to follow the contest diet, like maybe you guys can, share it on our .fit champions page. If you're going to follow the contest diet, show us your results. And maybe we'll give you some free stuff following the contest diet. So thank you everyone for joining. Neil, do you want to sign us off without any more questions coming in?
I don't know. I just, a couple big things happened, this week and actually last week. For those of you, I think most of you are probably NASM certified, National Academy of Sports Medicine. And I think most of you know that was my company for 14 years. And of course, recently we had purchased PTA Global, and we took that, and my partners and I actually merged it into Ascend, which is the holding company for NASM. So we are now partners together again. I am back with my company, NASM, and part of the advisory committee for the whole group of products, which is going to really open up your careers tremendously. So I can't wait to get out and sort of have that again. It really feels special to be back for that company that we built. That is, certainly, the biggest in the world today. All the certifications, the top 10 are obviously excellent, but of course, NASM being the biggest and sort of my baby, it's really great to be home with that. And I can't wait for the future as we start putting all this stuff together. So you guys we can blow up your careers as we try to save the world with fitness.
Okay, guys, we will see you next month for the next masterclass. If you want to hear about a specific topic, send us an email, kat@dotfit.com. And of course, Neil's always willing to share his email Neal at dotfit.com. So have a great weekend, guys.
Thanks,
See you next
everyone.
month.
See you soon.